I am now about to launch Gideon, America's first ever AI threat detection platform built specifically for law enforcement. It scrapes the internet 24/7 using an Israeli-grade ontology.
Wow, nothing sounds better than Israeli grade, but the person you just heard from is Israeli special ops veteran Aaron Cohen. Oh, they have special ops, that's interesting. Who plans to launch a mass monitoring of Americans through his AI-powered surveillance system. Isn't that great? Now, he's selling this as a way of preventing mass shootings like the one that just happened in Minnesota, obviously tragic. But if I remember correctly, mass surveillance of the American people hasn't really foiled mass shooters in the past. I don't know how using Israeli technology, the Israelis who like to spy on the American people, how is using their technology to do mass surveillance of the American people a good thing? But since this is described as Israeli grade, Fox News anchors are absolutely giddy about it, even though they would probably be condemning it if, say, a country like China were the one pitching their software to do mass surveillance on Americans on their show. Now, let's get to the rest of Cohen's speech, and then I want to hear your thoughts, Jake.
It scrapes the internet 24/7 using an Israeli-grade ontology to pull specific threat language and then routes it to local law enforcement. It's a 24/7 detective. It never sleeps, and it's going to get us in front of these attacks.
Would it have picked up on this, do you think?
100%. I wish my program would already be up. We're not launching until next week. I've got a dozen agencies on board, Trace. I just unloaded a major Northeast agency with over 2,700 sworn. This is America's early warning system.
Okay, I have no doubt that this is going to be deployed in an effort to come down hard on any American who's critical of Israel. I think that's the number one thing that they're going to focus on here. I don't think this guy cares at all about Americans getting slaughtered in mass shootings. But the name of this program is Gideon. I just want to give you a few details. In an ad for Gideon, this is a screenshot from it. And so Gideon scans incoming signals across, as you can see, open web, and they list Reddit threads, public forums, blog posts, conspiracy boards, and anything that questions Israel, of course, is considered a conspiracy these days. They also go through the comment sections. Other things they go through, social media, of course. If you're a gamer, and you're messaging through the games that you're playing with others, that's gonna be scanned by this. And the indicator patterns they're looking for is grievance buildup, martyrdom language, hate speech plus ideology, tactical prep, target references, suicidal intent, and final post behaviors. A lot of these mass shooters will, post something about how it's the end for them or whatever it is before they carry out their, disgusting violent acts that slaughter others before they take their own lives. But Cenk, do you have any faith in this mass surveillance that's being pitched to us? Israeli grade surveillance?
First of all, I agree with Benjamin Franklin. He said those who would give up essential liberty to purchase little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. And by the way, they won't get either. And instead what they'll get is Big Brother. So I'm thinking of buying a "Don't Tread on Me" flag. And I probably could get it cheap off of a right-winger these days because they're like, oh yeah, tread on us. Yeah, military in the streets, I love it. Mass surveillance from Israel on American citizens, I love it. Please, please. So here, I'll give you $1. You give me your "Don't Tread on Me" flag, okay? Obviously you're not using it anymore. So now to be fair, some of the Trump supporters are not in favor of getting surveilled by anyone, let alone our government or Israeli government. So the fact that he said it's Israeli grade is a code, not for the viewers. The viewers aren't like, oh great, we're gonna have something like the Israelis had in when they gave people technology like pagers and said, don't worry, trust this, and then they blew them up and killed them with their kids. That's so great, I can't wait for that to come here, right? But in DC, they do think that. They're like, oh yes, Israeli grade. This way we could do what they did in Gaza here. Oh, right. Okay, so Gaza is a bit of a test run. And I don't mean for Israel and Israeli control. I mean for the powerful in this world overall against the powerless. What can we do? What can we get away with? How can we control them? Can we control them completely? And then have the whole world go, yes, sir, slaughter anyone you like, sir. Surveil anyone you like, sir. We won't object, we won't object. Why? Part of the reason they won't object is because they were already surveilled. Jeffrey Epstein. So no, this is an epic disaster for America.
Well, in case you're hoping for some nightmares tonight, why don't we go to the next clip featuring Cohen describing Gideon in a video from this past June.
This is Palantir for the homeland, for US law enforcement.
Giddy. What? Why? Okay, so let's talk about Palantir, okay? Because look, let me just be clear about something. So this, there was a deep dive by Wired into Palantir, which does not technically provide new data to its clients about the people that are being surveilled. What they do instead is serve as a tool to rapidly sort through the data that their client already has access to. So anything that you post online, basically, the Palantir technology has a way to basically process it and put it in a nice little package for the government or anyone who's trying to make sense of who they're surveilling, right? So in the case of government and law enforcement clients, there's a lot of data to work with. So here is an excerpt, or a few excerpts actually, from a Wired piece kind of breaking it down. In just minutes, a law enforcement official or government analyst can map out who may be in a person's network and see documents that link them together. They can also centralize everything an agency knows about a person in one place, including their eye color from their driver's license or their license plate from a traffic ticket, making it easy to build a detailed intelligence report. They can also use Gotham to search for a person based on a characteristic like their immigration status, what state they live in, or whether they have tattoos. Now, Palantir built its Gotham program specifically for its police and government clients. Look, as we know, there is a very real effort right now, and I'm sensing it big time with the way things are kind of going on social media sites. There's this very big effort to silence anyone who is critical of Israel. You know, the bots certainly exist, that's nothing new, but the threats have really been amped up. And the statements from government officials in regard to what is and isn't acceptable speech as it pertains to Israel has been ramped up. So, a perfect example, Cenk, is what we pushed back on just last week in regard to all of the reports that came out and the FBI investigation in regard to those 5 Israeli nationals who were seen celebrating as the World Trade Towers were being hit on 9/11. People were jumping down my throat at even mentioning that as if it was a totally made up conspiracy. I got a bunch of threats about it. But those reports were real. It was reported on by Fox News. It was also reported on by ABC News at the time, which we showed a clip of. I don't think this is about keeping Americans safe. I think this is about shutting Americans up.
Yeah. So look, if you see us speaking out forcefully against Israel and then you think, well, okay, well, the Americans are still allowed to do it. No, there's
for now.
No, it's not even that. It's actually a very small number of Americans that are able to do it. So I don't want you to get misled. Like, for example, I went to UCLA a couple of months ago to do a radio interview. And I was shocked at how reticent the students were to criticize Israel. So even though they were very much left wing and did not agree with Israel, and I asked them why, and they said, well, they're making lists of people who criticize Israel, and then I won't be able to get a job, and this costs me a lot of money, and I need a job. And so it super progressive, wants to do the right thing, wants to fight against genocide, worried about it. Then a friend came and he's like, oh, I'm gonna work in finance. There's no way I'm gonna criticize Israel. Because they literally said, they have lists on Wall Street, and that's public. That Bill Ackman and others have talked about it. Yeah, we will not hire you if you criticize Israel, and we'll try to ruin your life. So if you have a tiny amount of power like us, in that we have a show and they are trying to shut it down, but they're struggling because you guys keep signing up. So maybe they'll get us at some point. But there are supporters of Israel inside this country that are constantly trying to eliminate anyone who criticizes Israel. And the less power you have, the easier it is for them to bully and intimidate you, right? So, and by the way, if you get above us, it gets easier again, because if you're working for CNN or New York Times, it's super easy to get you fired, super easy, right? So we have a little bit of independence. Now, last things on this that are super important. Now, when you talked about this kind of surveillance, he says, oh yeah, my computer program would have picked this up and we'd have stopped it. Yeah, my ass you would have, okay? Yeah, it's so easy to say that. Yeah, I got one too. And it's so, is that what they're gonna do, actually find the mass shooter right before they do the shooting? No, this reminds me of like, oh yeah, well, you're not in favor of torture, but what if there was a ticking time bomb, right? No, there's no ticking time bomb, you just wanna torture people, right? And no, you're not gonna catch a mass shooter seconds before they get there. This isn't a movie show, a movie or a TV show. Instead, what they're gonna do is they're gonna look through and try to find things that they find objectionable. So for example, this shooter in Minneapolis was a lunatic, was against Jews, Muslims, and then shot up a church. Can't figure it out, you know why? Because they're mentally ill, okay?
Yeah.
So now, do you think that if they left out Jews, Christians, etc., and that same person was like, oh, I hate Muslims, and I love Breivik who killed Muslims, and I love the Christchurch shooter who killed Muslims, etc., that this system would have picked them up? No way. There's no way. You'd have to pick up half the country. Okay, you like, for people who make comments about against Islam, and by the way, should we be doing that? Should we be rounding up everyone who makes really anti-Muslim comments? I don't think we should be locking those people up. I don't think we should be arresting anyone for their thoughts or for pre-crime. Whether it's against Muslims, Jews, Israel, Turkey, whoever it might be, that doesn't make any sense at all. Do not trade away your liberty for security. You're not gonna get it. The people in power are going to be a lot more secure. You are going to be less safe, okay? And finally, Anna, look, the reason why I'm extra concerned is Trump brings in military in the streets, and now he's got masked, badgeless people doing law enforcement. And then when you add in Israeli-grade surveillance, so we surveil all American citizens, well, I object. Oh, good news, the Marines are here. You're not allowed to object. So this is a very scary road that we're on.
It sure is.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.